I need closure. Baby, where did we go wrong? Why am I singing this sad song? Closure. 'Cause my stubborn heart won't let you go. Won't let you, won't let you, won't
All
let
right,
you go.
how's everybody doing, my beautiful Black kings and queens? So happy to have you here,
Amazing.
Amber.
Sorry that I stayed too long.
Everybody had a
For
good day today?
everything
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
pretty
ever
much. Good,
Yes.
good.
only thought that we would be together, living happily forever. What in the hell have we done? But I can't love you with a broken heart. I've cried and I've tried to mask the pain with
Our
a
veteran
smile. You love
panelists
me, you
are
hate
here,
me, you can't
Anita
live without
and
me.
Will. So I'm going to start with their bios so the others can get familiar with them.
I'm like Tina Turner. When she was that last scene of Tina Turner, she's like, Your Honor, just give me my name, Your Honor. That's how I am tonight. Just call me Anita Lovers tonight.
Okay, Anita Levels.
Yes.
Got it. All right. So Anita Levels is a lover of communication and thought, a vocal artist, voice influencer, songwriter, and producer who began singing at the age of 3 years old. Her powerhouse, soulful, but lark-like vocals have graced national and international audiences. Anita has a master's degree in training and development from Carlow University, which is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and believes that instrumentation and the voice have the innate ability to vibrate truth, healing, and thought. I love that. Will Howard, versatility, passion, and creativity are words that describe bassist, composer, producer Will Howard, Chicago-based but nationally and internationally seasoned bassist. Will's unique combination of gospel roots, formal study, and wide-ranging musical interests have allowed him to work with a wide variety of artists. Jazz and commercial music major and minored in philosophy at Roosevelt University. He brings his life experiences to the discussion as a source of empowerment. Mark Avery from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is a pastor of Greater Works Ministry. While pastoring, he has implemented many new programs and ministries. Mark served on some of the local community service boards, such as the YMCA, TikTok Early Learning Center, Even Start, and numerous others. He is a dynamic teacher and preacher, and many have been blessed and inspired through his ministry. His desire is for the church to meet the spiritual, physical, and emotional needs of the community by taking the ministry outside of the confines of the church building. He is the father of two sons and grandfather to two granddaughters. Jamila Jacquier, who's 33 and a single mom of five, recently chose to be addressed by her first and middle name. She says it changed the way she thinks about herself. It holds weight and femininity. After contracting COVID in November 2020, she began studying yoga, which led her to create her unique way and titled it Yoga I Think. She says it has enhanced her sexuality, her confidence, and her body structure. She feels balanced, free, and always willing and ready to face the world. She became an entrepreneur and launched a career as a hairstylist and later received her license to teach cosmetology, where she owned a nail salon. She is currently the business owner of Network, selling beauty products and using her brand to provide services for people to build their business. David E. Jones, born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, raised back and forth between two cities, Chicago, Illinois, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He graduated from Riverside University High School in Milwaukee in 2007. He completed high school with a 1.97 cumulative, but was determined to pursue higher learning and enrolled at Robert Morris University in Chicago, Illinois, where he was a pre-med student. He left that institution after freshman year with a 3.2 cumulative. He later attended Wilberforce University, named one of the first historical Black universities, where he was a dual major in sociology and psychology, and also where he met his beautiful friend, girlfriend of 10 years, and now his wife of 2 years. Though he dropped out after his junior year, he earned, listen, wait for it, a cumulative of 3.89 and was recognized on the dean's list. His career path has led him to continue his education by completing courses in being a certified nurse's assistant, phlebotomy, medical assistant, a basic EMT, and currently a lab technician. He is the founder and owner of 6 Day Genesis Photography, LLC. He is the host of a podcast called I Love You, Black Man from a Black Man, and author of the book, They Called Him Gay, which has a release date of coming soon. I'm excited about that.
Lynn Colbert Jones
is a celebrated songwriter from the Chicagoland area who began writing lyrics and poems at the age of 17. She has written more than 175 songs, spanning almost every genre, including jazz, pop, gospel, and R&B, theater, and country. She is sought out by many musicians from around the world to collaborate and specializes in writing lyrics and/or lyrics and melodies. Lynn is the creator of the Good Hearts Club Music Jam, which happens virtually via Zoom every Friday night at 8 p.m. She is also the co-creator of the monthly show Composers Cafe. Both shows were created in 2020 and continue with much success. Zelma Higgs is a licensed counselor at Rapunzel's Phoenix Counseling Services. Her theoretical orientation is person-centered therapy and Gestalt therapy. She believes life's tools are inside of us: self-actualization, self-trust, coping strategies, and the willingness to grow. We simply must explore them. At Rapunzel's Phoenix Counseling Services, she helps toddlers, children, adolescents, adults, families, and the LGBTQIAPK community. Amber Farrington is a multi-gifted creative soul adapting to life on Earth and discovering how best to be of service to the world at this time. She grew up in a picture-perfect home, carefully and lovingly crafted by 2 people who wanted her to have everything they didn't. There was an emphasis on keeping up appearances. She quickly learned the roles of worldly possessions as a glue that filled the cracks of a broken foundation. Deeply affected by the disharmony of her family and community, Amber feels called to bring attention to and help heal the physical, the mental and emotional manifestations of trauma passed down through generations of resilient but often misguided people. Her experience of complex post-traumatic stress disorder and related research informs most of her writing on these subjects. Yes, she looks forward to helping people form genuine soul connections through self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-love. Amber studied visual art for 7 years before attending undergrad. She earned a bachelor's in hospitality management after majoring in marine vertebrate biology, environmental sustainability, and veterinary medicine. She briefly taught art at a middle school in New York. When not working, she sells custom painted portraits of children, families, and past loved ones to remind us of what is truly important in this life.
I just want to say it's an honor to be here tonight with everyone. I know we've been here with Will and Lynn. Let me see, Will, Lynn are pretty much and of course CHAR are the ones that we've been here before, and so it's so cool to have like everyone else here. You know, and Amber, I've seen you like supporting
in the chat.
Ezra. Yeah, so I've seen you around, so it's good to kind of have you on the floor. So it's just exciting to have new conversations, new experiences in on the conversation. So I'm excited to be in with you all tonight. So I'm just excited.
Yes,
Welcome.
yes, I'm excited. I'm excited. And I know the last time, like I said, I tried to make it a diverse audience and it just would not work out. And it just ended up being all people of color. Like seriously, I tried with everything within me and it just happened to be us. And I do feel like this is our time. This is our time for healing. This is our time to encourage each other, to build each other up as a community. We say it, but how much are we really doing? Do you know what I mean? So I was just thinking about doing a little exercise. I wanted to play because David has this awesome podcast. Congrats, David. And I was able to listen to it. You all check it out when you can. I Love You, Black Man from a Black Man. And it was so amazing. He was talking to, I believe it was his uncle and his cousin. And he was helping them just to have those very difficult conversations. You know, those conversations that sometimes you don't even know like why you don't have a good relationship as much as you feel like you love each other and you want to be whole, but you don't know where to start. So that was very interesting. What can we say to one another to validate each other? What is it that we should be saying to build each other up? If I thought about the Black man, of course I told you all, I love my Black men. I just do. And I admire your strength. I admire your tenacity to move through the way our world is set up to, you know, disrespect you and your essence, the essence of you, who you are. And I just want to tell you that I appreciate you. I love you, Black man. I'm gonna use that, David.
So beautiful.
Beautiful.
Anybody, just join in, whatever you want to say, build each other up.
Beautiful.
Affirmation, isn't that hard? Validation.
I think I'll say, since you validated Black men, I'll validate Black women. I guess for me, I just want to say that I really, really am motivated by the strength that the Black woman has had and has in the absence of us Black men. How strong and how powerful you guys have become. It's just amazing. Is amazing to see. I'm glad I'm here to watch.
Goosebumps. I feel that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I go just a tad bit deeper, Char, to just feedback on something you said? And I just have to speak from my own experience. I tell people all the time, people need people. Okay? People need people. And for those that don't understand that, shame on them, right? Because you can't get through this life without people. And what I notice when we, you know, when we are talking about Black people in particular, I'm a supporter of all people, all things beautiful. If you're doing something positive for yourself or for somebody else, I support that. I acknowledge it. I cheerlead naturally. And what I see, not just with Black people, but with everybody, is that we live in a me society, especially with social media. So everybody wants you to see them, see me. Now they might not even look at their newsfeed to see anybody else, right? All that matters in their world is that you see them. They don't necessarily care about seeing anybody else. And I don't think that there's any benefit when there's no balance. So my thing is people need people. And I would just suggest to our Black people in particular to support each other. Even if you're a me kind of personality, step out of that every now and then. Every little bit helps, right? Step out of your own orbit for a second and acknowledge the person that might have helped you last year or 10 years ago or last month, or the person that might have supported you before, right? People have to get in the habit of doing that. And I say, particularly in our culture. We got to clean our house and take care of each other because nobody else has to. Right? So I just would call on us to recognize that it's not always about us and as individuals. I think that's where our culture is lost. We've got to be able to help and support each other for the greater good.
Right.
So
And so
that's
I
my
think, yeah, and so
That's right.
I think it's really important that even as a culture, I'm glad you brought that up too, Lynn, because even as a culture, I think it's really important that we understand trauma response collectively. And the sister that's the therapist, I'm hoping that she can maybe understand and maybe talk about that even more, that how pervasive our trauma is collectively as culture. I don't think we really understand how, and I'm not saying you don't, Lynn, but even from my background is in social work, and I've been a child advocate. So you can even say that the people that you see on like forensic, like the CSIs, I've worked in law firms and I've represented children that have been significantly abused, who've come from environments, I mean horrific environments. I've had to read through files of things that you see on TV. When they open up the thing like these cases, those things, right? Yeah. I've been a part of near-death panels when kids have literally been near death, or even death panels. That's a real thing. These things are real things. And that happens in our communities, all communities, but specifically, it's a lot more pervasive in Black communities, in Black homes when it comes to abuse and neglect, right? Because you're dealing with poverty. So you're dealing with, a lot of times in Black homes. So even when you deal with the whole idea of getting back with people, and I'm not trying to say, scapegoating it, but it's so real when you really think about the pervasiveness of trauma within the Black community. As simple as getting back to someone could be, there could have been something that could have happened that day that just wasn't on there for whatever reason. They just couldn't get back. Yeah, and I don't think people really, really understand the reactions and how the ripple effects of the trauma that we deal with as a people, and the privilege that even to this day that white folks have to be able to get back to you 100% of the time.
I think it makes sense to acknowledge that, and it's duly noted. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really talking about the people who have experienced trauma, right? I'm talking about Black folks that, I know several of them that have had no trauma, no problems, no issues, and it's still just me, right? I'm talking about, if we can just start there with the healthy Black folks.
Is that a Black thing? Can that just be an individual thing? That's just true.
That's people in general.
Their individual thing. Is that a Black thing? That's just that individual being trifling and unprofessional, and then just happens to be Black.
To be honest, to be perfectly honest, when you say something like, and Annette, what Annette is referring to, the trauma. Anita, I'm sorry. That's
okay. Okay, that's okay.
She changed her last name. Now she changed her first name.
Right.
Who was Annette Levels? Who was she?
Right.
How dare she be in this here?
I'm sorry. I think when she's referring to trauma, she's talking about generational trauma, and you can't necessarily put a cap on when a Black person or a Black heritage has become healthy or whole. That takes time. So I think there's a little bit of there's a difference in what we're talking about.
I agree. There's a difference.
To build on what you're saying, we also have to remember that for Black people in America, our presence in America is the result of trauma.
Yes.
And we didn't, for the most part, we were brought here through a traumatic circumstance. Then you were slaves.
Yes.
Jim Crow.
Yeah.
So I'm in my 50s, early 50s. And literally, I was watching a documentary about the civil rights movement, and they were talking about the Voters' Rights Act. And
That was not too long ago.
and they were kind
By
of
the
like,
way.
oh, it ended in like this law was passed in 1968, and I'm like,
Right.
wait,
I was
I
2
was
years
born.
Right.
I wasn't even right. And I was like, so that's in my lifetime.
old. Yep.
And so in my lifetime, this is what has happened. And we have to look at it from that perspective too.
Let me ask you a question, Will. And I'm referring to Will because I know that he's in the music industry. You had posted something the other day about referring people for gigs.
Yes.
So let's parallel
Actually,
that with what I'm
just dealt with that earlier today.
So let's parallel that with what I'm talking about, and now we understand what I'm saying. I understand the reality of 400 years of oppression and slavery, and I'm not talking about that. We know that exists. We know that it's real.
Right.
We know that it's something that we're going to have to contend with for the rest of our lifetimes and then our generation to come. That's never going to go away. But does it have much to do with what you were talking about the other day as it relates to your experience when you refer somebody for a gig?
Oh, definitely.
You see what I'm saying?
And we know what he was talking about.
Look,
we know
you
the
literally,
On that.
Yeah. Will should speak to that. What he was. I hate to bring your post into it, but I want.
But it's one of those things where, at the end of the day, it's not everybody's responsibility to have to accommodate you. If you want to exist in a particular space, I'm not going to accommodate the fact that somebody said something to you in third grade and you didn't get picked because that has nothing to do with this. You live in the moment. Like, we understand that all of these things are wrong and all this stuff happened, but we also live in the moment where your behavior, I don't need that excuse.
Right.
I can't be on time for a gig and it's because my people were slaves.
Thank you.
Don't give me that.
I understand, and we're not here to victimize our people.
Right.
No, because I don't want to.
I always said that I believe in Black excellence.
Yeah.
No, and what you said, Anita, was well received. This is not. This is just healthy debate and acknowledgement conversation.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I know exactly. Because look, I was in a circumstance Saturday. I worked with an artist named Michael McDermott, and he's kind of an Americana. Think Tom Petty. Think John Cougar Mellencamp, think that kind of vibe. And that is normally not I don't do a lot of, I haven't worked with a lot of artists in that environment because of a situation. The drummer's a friend, he pulled me into it. Now, I was literally the only Black person there. They had one Black person at the venue. Me and him, we were vibing like, what's up, brother? But I was the only Negro on stage. There were no Black people in the audience. There wasn't even nobody dark in the audience. I was like, is there an Asian or
right.
It's just me. I'm representing Black folks. And so, because and this guy's been on major labels, he's been on TV, so it was an opportunity, in a way of speaking, to do something different. And one of the things that when I got the gig, when I got the call, and they gave me the material, one of the things I said to myself was, I'm going to be on top of this because A, I wanted to do it. B, that's how I comport myself anyway. And C, and this is in the back of my head, that little Black man in the back of my head.
Yep.
I don't have a margin. I can't come in here. I can't come late. I can't come not knowing stuff.
That's right.
I can't come not dressed right. I can't come I have to think about it. Now, for these dudes, they're just playing the gig in front of their fans. Because one of the things that I kind of tripped out on was that his songs are really cool, but they got a lot of words. and everybody there knew every word to every song. So I was like, that's got to be cool, because as a person who writes songs that nobody knows, but part of my, and that's just the work ethic, because I always tell people I'm the only musician in my family. My father worked at a steel mill. My mother was a nurse. So I come from people who got up and went to work. And so my job is my job. And that's how I've always approached it. I have a job, you go do your job, you show up on time, you do the things you're supposed to do. But I in the back of my head, I had no margin.
You got to represent. You got to represent.
I have no margin to not know the material. In fact, I got to slam it. Like, because I'll admit that I went online and, because they have an online community, and I was looking to see what they said about me, and it was all positive feedback. But and as much as I've worked and done, I still was like, ooh, okay, cool. Yeah. Because you have to, and that's the way that I internalize the trauma, and that's the way I push back against it, because I believe in, like I was saying, Anita, I was kind of talking over, but I believe in Black excellence, and that's the thing with me. Yeah. It's like, if you're sitting here in America today as a Black person, you are the result of excellence. You are the result of people who survived and thrived. You're the best. You're the best, because you wouldn't have made it through the Middle Passage. You wouldn't have made it through slavery.
That's what I was going to say. Our Blackness in itself is excellent. Blackness in itself.
Just breathe.
It's excellent.
That's it.
But I hear you.
And that's my thing, is that we have to, on many levels, we have to hold ourselves accountable to measure up to that excellence that we come from. Yeah.
That's right.
But my oldest daughter tells me that I participate in respectability politics.
I was just going to mention that.
And I told her,
respectability.
Whatever. Look, I paid for her college. I was like, I paid all that money for you to go to college for you to tell me.
Because what music are they playing anyway?
Exactly.
What genre of music are they playing? Let me hear you.
Right.
What genre of music is he playing?
Oh, who? The dude I was working with?
Yeah.
Americana.
What genre of music for playing with me, Will?
What
genre of music is he playing, Will?
Oh, it's based on Black music.
Okay, what genre of music? I'm asking you one more time, Mr. Howard.
I'm confused about the question.
I'm gonna look you right here in this here camera. I'm looking in your face.
Okay. Don't be looking at me. I'm gonna get mesmerized.
What genre of music was that man playing?
Okay, Americana.
Don't say Americana. Don't say that Americana.
Rock and roll, I guess.
Thank you.
Okay.
Who created rock and roll? How dare you go in there talking about something? I had to be on my P's and Q's. He couldn't even play not one lick of a quote unquote Americana if it wasn't for the blood that's running through your veins right here, right now.
Oh no, that's true. Me? But that's true. But as a musicologist, I also have to say that we shouldn't pretend that white people don't have culture or music either.
Right.
Well, no. I'm not saying that.
Because we were playing country songs, we were playing Irish reel. That ain't got nothing to do with us, per se.
What I'm saying to you is that you are more than well within your right to walk in there with your spine just as up and down as they are to be in there singing whatever lyrics they were in there singing. That's all I'm saying.
I like I said, I came in and I was like, I know I'm gonna, because I prepared myself, I'm gonna hit this hard.
Okay, because most American music is all American.
All
music.
American.
There is no American music without Black culture.
American music is
without the Black experience. That's all I'm trying to say.
That's absolutely true. Okay, thank you.
Well, let's hear from.
Don't look me in the eye like that no more.
You all stop. Don't stop.
I'm a lover of communication and thought.
That's right. Let's hear from David, Jamila, and Amber. Well, add to this. I mean, in your generation, how do you relate?
Me personally, listen to you guys. I understand exactly where you're coming from. I think I'm a millennial. I'm 33. I'll be 34 in December. Like my bio said, I have 5 children, so my memory isn't that good. You know, we do a lot, but I have been through a lot of traumatic experiences. And when it comes to me chasing what my ancestors fought for, I'm big on that. And I've always been stuck in my history and found myself stuck at a place where I couldn't really move forward because I'm like, well, for one, why am I being charged for stuff that's supposed to be for free? Why am I out here working for things that I'm supposed to already have? I had that type of mindset, you know? And it's not to say that I'm being ignorant. It's just like, it's reality to me. It's my reality. But I always knew that, of course, I'm here. I have to do something. I'm on this earth. I have children that I have to take care of. I have responsibility. So I'm going to do that. And chasing those things, I still had the traumatic experiences that happened to me personally, being molested by my own father in the house, my stepfather in my house. So that changed my mindset and wouldn't really allow me to do certain things. So I stayed stuck in certain places. I would always have adults tell me, well, you should respect your elders more and you should be looking and wanting to do this or acquire this and that. And it's just like, well, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, it don't really look like you're that happy with what you're doing and you're telling me to do this. So it's like, we've been taught so many things and we've also been trying to maneuver through the trauma, but nobody really listens to the younger generation on what it is that we want and how we want to do things. Back in the day, because I do music, back in the day, if I would have said, you know what, to my family, I want to just do music. I don't want to do anything else. And I want to go as far as I can with it. I was crazy for saying something like that. So now at 33 years old, I'm doing those things that I could have been did a long time ago. And I could have been at a level of where Rihanna and Beyonce is because of how great I am. But I didn't have that backbone like I needed because of the people that was behind me and that was consulting with me and that was supposed to be there for me. So it's like, I hear exactly what you guys are saying, but some of us are still stuck. And that's where I come in with my generation. And I'm letting them know by my experiences and what I've been through that they can truly get through these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Good stuff.
Mhm.
David, Amber,
Thank
anybody
you
have a
for
question?
sharing.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing, Jamila. Thank you for sharing.
I think that from listening thus far, tolerance is the major separation between the two. From listening to, you guys' generation speak from ours. I do understand that nobody has to deal with the traumas of, that your generation gave to us. Nobody has to deal with those traumas. But what I've come to realize is that we meet individuals who do have the tolerance from your generation to teach us those things. So when we meet someone who is seasoned and is a vet in the field, we most of us come from places like I come from a home where no father. I never knew a father. My understanding of becoming a man came from watching TV or playing sports or something like that. Like I learned my own identity. And in me trying to find my own identity, I also found that no male older than me was interested enough to, no male older than me had the tolerance to endure how different I was. And I also found that translated into corporate America. I recognize that there is a necessary balance that needs to occur as you get older. Being Black, I recognize that I am not African, but I am of African heritage, but I am also American. And with that being said, that means that I come from a native land where creativity was my means of wealth. And now I'm in this land where territory is my means of wealth, and compensation, how much money I can make becomes my new identity. And so now, me being African American, it's important for us to find that balance of creativity and also being able to navigate corporate America. But it also requires the tolerance of our elders to not say things like, no one has to tolerate the traumas that you experienced when you were 3, when you may be the individual that's just now introducing them to a scene where they're required to confront those issues. And you're right, you don't have to tolerate it. You don't have to tolerate it, but understand you're also not helping our community by not tolerating it.
Exactly.
Because that is the reality of our community right now.
Exactly.
Hey,
Thanks for
You
sharing.
hit that on the head.
can I ask David? David, can you unmute just to expand on what you are saying? So, can you clarify what you need from our generation and the generations before us
Good
in
question.
terms
Yeah.
of support and understanding and tolerance? So, when you say the conversation we were having earlier about how I think what we were kind of speaking to is a little bit of accountability, right? Regardless of what our Black culture has experienced and still, let's face it, it still is experiencing. Okay. I thought Jamila, is it Jamila? Jamila did a great job of expressing the confusion, right? She's feeling this, she's told that, she's trying to deal with it and figure it all out. David's speaking to, we're trying to figure out we think we have an idea, but we need you guys' help, right? But when you say that, are you saying that we should, when we are faced with a situation, like I struggle with Black on Black crime. That's just it's a thing for me. I used to date a guy back when I was 17 who was shot dead, right? At 17. His name was Benji Wilson. And that was really for me.
The basketball player?
Yes.
From Chicago?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And for
I remember
me,
that.
yes.
I remember that very distinctly. We played basketball against each other.
Oh my gosh. And I was with him 3 days before he died. Okay.
Oh,
But the thing, and we went to different high schools. Okay. But what I'm saying is, for me then, the entire city, the country mourned this young man.
Yeah.
Okay. We were 17. Our birthdays were 4 days apart. And so I'm thinking there was a tragedy. It happened. That woke people up, right? Certainly nothing like this should happen again because people realize this is tragic. This should never occur. And what's happened since then?
More
Our
time.
crime and our killing each other has multiplied probably by 17 times. I don't understand how we get from there to there without, I do understand what we're dealing with. I understand the purse strings and the puppet strings. What I don't understand is the lack of accountability. Please, David, yes.
The lack of accountability is also on your part, your generation's part, by not acknowledging that what stays at home, that the whole philosophy of what happens at home stays at home. That, a perfect example is Jamila, right?
Correct.
Jamila opened her opening immediately when she began to speak. I began to learn who she was, an individual alone. When you guys were speaking, we began to learn of your accolades, we began to hear of things that you guys aren't transparent, you guys aren't honest.
Yeah.
And not being we're talking about accountability. We are accountable to what we are doing. That's why we're being honest with you. She opened up by expressing the traumas that she experienced. And we are not afraid of being honest. I'm writing a book and it's titled, They Call Him Gay. I'm not afraid to identify, to openly saying that I'm demisexual. I'm not afraid of saying that I've been with men, but I married a woman. Like I'm not afraid of being openly transparent about those things, and
Yes.
if somebody to
Thank you.
tell me that I should keep that at home, or that is how most of our experience with you guys' this generation has been. And what we will not tolerate is for a white man to tell us we need to shut up, and then for y'all to tell us we need to shut up as well. That's just absolutely unacceptable. So you speak about need. We don't need anything from you but to take accountability, a word that you use. We need you guys to take accountability for the fact that you were silent, and then take accountability for the fact that we are verbally disrespectful and verbally honest and just blunt, because we don't know how to be honest because you guys were silent. So it's like it's like an infinity.
That's